Hello everyone, I'm Suparna Shri and you're watching Jagran English. Today, the budget 2024 is out there and we will be talking to our expert Rahul Kakkar and he will be giving you some insights on the tax regime. Hello sir, welcome to the show.
Hi Suparna, thank you for inviting me over.
So, how was the budget 2024 according to you?
Well, I think in one word, if I have to describe it, it was pretty progressive.
Yeah.
Right. Why I say so is the budget, after a very, very long time, has been touched upon almost on all the factors, all the paradigms of the economy. Normally, I don't tend to talk as a progressive budget because after a very long time, as I said, it is the Modi regime 3.0, probably kind of a coalition government. Whatever the factors of the background might have been, this has been the budget which has been tabled by Honorable Finance Minister, touching upon and giving some kind of a merit equations or kind of a benefits to almost everybody in the economy. Either it is industry segregated point by point, either it is on the popular side, which is the direct taxpayers, or the indirect taxpayers, which is GST and custom duties have been raised. Even recently there have been a 53rd council meeting of GST which happened almost after a gap of 8 months. But there were a lot of certain factors which were announced in the GST Council in the press release, which could have only been impacted and effected and executed only after being having changes in the law, which have been tabled today, right? So the finance bill has been amended, and almost 30 plus sections have been amended, and some new insertions have happened, which are going to give a lot of benefit to the indirect taxpayers and the assessees, who basically will curtail down on the litigation which was announced in details on the press release of 53rd council meeting. So for that, the budget was really important. Then there has been a new implementation, the announcement of budget cuts on the mobile industry, the mobile handsets and the related parts. So I think that is also a pretty positive step which has happened, because I think now the Indian mobile industry as a whole has it's really growing, and it has reached to some great heights, right? I think after automobile industry, second is our mobile industry, which is one of the largest producer and exporters from India now. Two of the biggest brands of the world, I don't want to name them, but now they are having the manufacturing facility in India, and not only for the Indian consumer, but also doing the one of the largest exports, right? Again, as I said, one of the biggest player in the industry. I just read the news that they have done last year, the FY 23-24, they have exported over 67,000 crores of handsets. Wow. So that's a really massive number, right? And that number is not only the lucrative number just for the sake of the revenue, but you look at the indirect equations, the ancillaries, job creations, wealth creation, tax creation, a lot of things which are attached to them is really coming into shape, right? Then there has also been the deduction in the customs on the gold, right? So gold is an emotional value. Probably you, me,
Especially
everybody.
for Indians.
Yes, so I think Indians are the ones. This is the proven study and research, and Indians are the ones who are the largest consumer of gold, not only as a metal to invest, but also as a commodity which is emotionally attached, which we call jewelry, right? Even either it is men or women, everybody is using the gold as the ornaments, right? So that will also be a little positive spirit. Was it the need of the hour or not? I don't know, but at times, the maybe the finance minister has tried to touch upon some kind of happiness coming on people's smile at okay, fine, I have given you this kind of leverage also, right? Yeah. Of course, it is not a stepping stone where probably tomorrow people will rush. Okay, fine, now the gold is going to get a little cheaper, because we are also in the same economy on the contrary side, we are feeding almost 80 crore people with the daily ration, right? So at the same time, if out of 130 crore population, if 80 crore is fed every day on ration, they are dependents, they are kind of a BPL families. And at the same time, we are the largest consumer of gold. So I think that's a kind of the flip of the coin, or two sides of the coin, which comes. But I think still in the harmonious construction of the economy, today's budget was, again, as I said, it's pretty probably in a hashtag language I can say it's pretty progressive, because everything has been touched upon. So you see industries, whatever the need of industries was there, that has been touched upon. The capital gains, there have been changes, it has got higher side, but at the same time the income tax slabs have got little low, right? So it is more for the masses. Of course, there could be a lot of expectations from the budget from every person's perspective. Like, if I am a salaried class or a middle class, I might be expecting a direct benefit, but at times, the
Middle
direct
class had a lot of expectation from this budget.
See, I think if I have to rate it on a scale of 5, I will rate it as 4, right? I could have rated this step 5 on 5 if the salary slab from 0 to 5 lakhs would have been at absolutely 0, like the tax assumption would have been there, but now it is 3 to 5. So I think that if that could have been there, because I am very, very sure the kind of revenue loss which happens from 3 to 5 lakhs is not going to be a big thing for the government, but that could have given kind of a cheer to a lot of people in the as an income tax assessee, because that is a kind of slab where the middle class starts, right?
True.
And then it becomes upper middle class and some kind of the subcategories which we have defined in today's time. So I think overall, but still very progressive, a lot of details in place. From the indirect point of view, I think only custom duties were announced. But why I say so? Because the last GST Council meeting which happened, 53rd Council meeting, since GST inception is there, I think every 1 or 2 months, whenever the meeting happens, it is also kind of a budget, right? And that meeting was very important because those impacts which have been just been tabled, and some have been tabled through today's amendments in the finance bill, are the real indirect tax benefits or the kind of changes which have happened, right?
So how is this going to help the middle class?
See, middle class is is just a terminology.
Yeah.
Middle class could be even people who don't even pay taxes, right? Indirect. I'm talking about the direct tax.
Yeah.
Now you see a person who's having a salary up to 3 lakhs, right? Could be anybody who's working at the lowest levels of the economy, which we call the starting point of the middle class. But you still see they are also the consumer of good mobile handsets, some kind of cab services, some kind of eateries or this e-commerce platforms and all. They are also paying taxes indirectly. So ultimately they are also taxpayers, right? So even anything coming in as a benefit in the indirect taxes also gives them benefit, but maybe indirectly. So that is why I'm saying we have to look from a very broader prospect. It is not that okay, fine, only my income tax, some exemption has come in, so today I am rich, I am able to save money. No, that's not the case. Even if we abolish income tax in India, there have been a lot of research and studies. Even if we abolish income tax in India and raise the indirect taxes, I'm not talking about the rate of the taxes, but if we raise the number on which the taxes are, levied, so that is going to bring economy in a prospective value, and still the collections would increase because
this is actually a much talked about thing.
Yes, see, if you look at economy in details, because normally what happens is people would just want to jump onto their conclusions that what has happened after they have to see, like since the morning budget session was tabled, we saw markets getting little into a crash zone. But then within hours it started recovering back, right? Why this happens? Because till the time you actually read the things in details, when you see when you see the in-depth analysis, only then you understand what is the paradigm equation which is bringing us harmony, right? Which is bringing us a kind of a corrective actions which government actually intended to do, right? Same way for the indirect taxes also, if you bring a lot of things in net, like we from last 2 years we've been hearing that center is trying to bring in the fuel in the petrol, diesel and CNG into the net of GST, right? Which will create firstly harmony of price, the one nation one tax. So same kind of price in every state, but otherwise normally you find the fuel pumps which are on the corridor of the borders of the cities or even at times states, they sign यहाँ पे सस्ता मिलता है, यहाँ पे इससे सस्ता मिलता है. So that can also be curtailed down. So customers will not get confused that where it is sasta. It is everywhere same. Secondly, once the ambit of this comes in, so the collections of tax as a whole would increase. Even if you bring electricity, it's okay. I'm not asking you to bring them at the highest slabs, but even if at 1% of tax, right? So it comes into the formal economy, right? And ultimately the collection increases. And once the collection increases, it is in the favor of the economy. What I know, even as a research study, recently there was a research. I don't want to because of the confidential reasons, I don't want to research the name of the research. But the indication which I am trying to tell you is that if the government is actually right now running on a 1,50,000 crore as average monthly revenue from GST, and of course there are a lot of riders onto that. But if this collection becomes double, which is very easily possible, if this collection becomes double, then I think even the abolishment of income tax for the middle class can be taken into consideration, right? Or even other kind of tax stops can be into consideration, or even, you know, the kind of taxes which we are paying on slabs of GST, like, you know, for service tax. Once we were erstwhile to GST,
Yeah.
we were at 14.5%, including all those cess and Krishi Kalyan cess and VAT and service tax, right? So why we went to 18%? Why not we went to, you know, reducing the slab to 12%? So even those kind of corrections can take in place, right? Because ultimately, when the revenue increases, you know, you have a portfolio where you can play, right? When you're you know, when you're rich, you plan where to spend what all, right? But when you have some limitation,
Yeah.
the richness is not only about what, but richness is about the quantification. If you can have something more, you can do more. More you earn, more you can donate. More you earn, more you can invest. More you earn, more you can spend. So same way, when the government has a revenue, when they earn more, they can also think from more masses, giving them more kind of, you know, positive inputs by reducing the tax slabs or other kind of incentives. And that is what, you know, the equation all lies. And that is what we say, that why we say the developed economies does not have much tax burdens.
Yeah.
Why? So what do you mean by that? Ultimately, their collections are huge,
Yeah.
right? Their incomes are huge, their collections are huge.
So basically, I would like you to explain the old tax regime and the new tax regime, and
Mhm.
how the new tax regime is better than the earlier one for your
Okay.
for our viewers.
Okay. That is not my core subject, but I would still like to tell in-depth analysis for direct tax are done by almost everybody, because income tax is something, you know, it is a 5-decade-old law now,
Yeah.
right? If I talk about the old regime and the new regime, there is no much changes. It is more like a terminology which has changed. But of course, when something new comes in, so some kind of benefits comes into place, right? So if I have to table it down, it would be a very exhaustive exercise.
Yeah.
But it is where you choose, right?
Just
So
just simplify it for our audience, that which one is better.
well, I think
According to you.
I think as a professional, it is very difficult for me to tell which is better. I think it all depends on your particular factors. How do you earn and how do you spend and how do you save? What are your tax plannings, right? So just to summarize, yes, of course, new planning is better. That is as per my view. But again, as I said, if you are not filing your you know, tax returns by yourself, then of course, please speak to your consultants, right? Let there be a expert view depending on your factors, because the riders are always different. What I earn, even at the same time, what probably Suparna, what you might be earning, if your income and my income are same, still the way you spend it, you save it, or you invest could be different through me. So my adaptation to old regime or new regime could be different. Your adaptation could be different, result oriented. That is why, you know, I think it is a very subjective matter. But still, to summarize, as you have asked me, I think the new regime is little better. It is new. So something new has come up, something new, beneficial things, and I think that will continue to come into the further budgets also. Only the new equations will come for the new policy only, because government wants you to switch over to a newer policy, right? But again, as I said, before you make a final call, always take things into consideration, consider multiple factors, because as I said, the riders for everybody's income tax filing would always be different, can't be same to same. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you for inviting me over. It was a pleasure.